finally back in the United States of America, where I belong. Thank you, Jesus. It feels so great to be back. I think I had an expectation that coming back home would be a difficult transition because that's what I've heard, that being in a different culture for an extended period of time makes the transition that much more difficult. The reality that I've experienced has been that that is not the case. I feel like I never left. It just feels natural and normal to be back home. Overall, I feel like my study abroad experience was a very difficult one in a lot of ways, but I'm very grateful for it as well. I don't really know if I went to Paris with any particular expectations. I guess my main goal of going was to just have a new experience and be able to just have some type of international knowledge of what it's like to live in a new place. I expected to have a really good time. I'm not going to lie. I thought that it would kind of be, yes, a semester abroad where I would be studying, but more of like an extended vacation where I would just be enjoying the ability to be in just a new element. It wasn't an extended vacation. It was more of a battle for me. I battled my emotions a lot of the time. I was battling a sense of being able to flourish. Like, my reality was definitely different from my expectations because it was a lot rougher and a lot more gritty than I thought my experience living abroad would be. So, of course, there were definitely not all bad elements to my study abroad experience in Paris. I have a lot of gratitude for some of the positive things I was able to take away. And some of those pros were, first and foremost, being able to travel across Europe. It was really easy and relatively cheap to go to different countries on breaks and over the weekend and stuff like that. And so I was able to go from not having any type of international experience whatsoever. I had never been to Canada, Mexico, anything, to in one semester, so 4 to 5 months, being able to travel to France, 3 different cities in France: Normandy, Lille, and Marseille, as well as Paris, so that's 4 actually. I went to Belgium, Brussels, Barcelona, Spain. I've been to Amsterdam, Holland. I've been to London, England. I've been to Rome, Italy. And I've also been to Krakow and Auschwitz, Poland. So that, I think, is like around 6 to 7 countries that I've been to just in those 4 months, not because I'm rolling in dough and I have all this ability to do have these amazing experiences across Europe, but because it's really easy to do it when you're in a place that's accessible to all these different places. I think that was the major number one pro that I got, just seeing and experiencing new things. So this was kind of a con too, because after a while it just kind of got difficult to deal with, but I think that it's really healthy to get out of my bubble, get outside of what I was used to experiencing, because it created a lot of gratitude for the things that are normal and just everyday for me. Just having a level of respect for where people come from helps me. It helped me over the course of the semester really be open-minded to just how different people can be and how the things that I consider to be rude or weird are very normal to other people. I think that the reason I really wanted to do study abroad while I was in college was because they essentially set up everything for you, like for the most part, they have a system set up of how you're gonna live, where you're gonna go to school every day, like how long you're gonna be there. My school helped me with my visa process, so there's just really no other time in life where you're gonna have kind of a middleman like my university or the university that you go to help you or facilitate that process of being abroad. Somebody has your back. If something happens to me, I have people that I can call. I'm not just relying on my mom to get me out of this situation while I'm 3,000 miles away from the US. to every pro, there is a con. So there were a lot of cons that I experienced in Paris. I'm not going to go into an extended length of detail. This is subjective, things that really made my experience difficult. The biggest issue was the length. I didn't really consider how long studying abroad would feel when you really just want to go home. I mean, 16 plus weeks actually sounds like a great idea, you know, when you're kind of fantasizing about all the dreams of what you think that some place in the world is going to be like. But when you actually get there and you're dealing with the roughness of it, 16 weeks feels like 16 years, and it was long. It was way too long for me. First 2 to 3 weeks, I was pretty much over it. I was like, okay, this is cool. Saw the Eiffel, took a picture at the Notre Dame, like, can somebody get me a flight back to the States? Especially with it being my first time so far away, and with all of those new elements, it was just a lot. I chose, bright idea, to go to Paris in the spring, but unfortunately, spring semester is almost always colder than fall semester. Like, the coldest months in the winter that I've experienced are in like January and February. When I got to Paris, it was freezing cold for a really long time. Now, it might not be freezing for some people who live in, like, I don't know, Minnesota. Well, I actually am coming from DC, so I guess I should have been better equipped, but I wasn't. It was really cold, and I hated it. And not only was it cold, it was so gray and ugly, and oh my gosh, like, it was just so depressing. I remember that was like the longest winter ever, you know?
It's like the longest winter ever.
So, like, the culture difference compared to just, you know, the ugly weather and just having homesickness, it was just way too much. It was way too much. And so
I wouldn't advise if you're looking to go to Paris to study abroad to go in the spring semester, just because I really didn't like Paris in winter. It was a very depressing place for me. But you don't have a lot of tourists, so the culture became a negative aspect for me after time. I'm gonna try to be as politically correct as possible, but I feel like I come from, just with my family and my experiences, people who are a lot warmer and like friendlier. That's not to say that all Parisians are cold and unloving, because my second homestay mother, let's make that clear, was extremely kind, and you know, she was like one of the nicest people I've met in life, like not just in France, just in life. There's a little truth behind every stereotype if you see where I'm going. So that was very difficult for me to deal with. Yeah, you know, it's good to be back and just say hi to people. I'm going to end that there. A lot of loneliness and isolation that I felt. I just felt so foreign there. It didn't matter how many times I took the bus and navigated the metro and gave directions and went into the same boulangeries every morning and saw the same employees. I never shook that feeling of feeling like an outsider. And like, I'm obviously not from here. The way I carry myself and everything is very rooted in where I come from. And I think that that is something that I started to be ashamed of or tried to hide when I first got to Paris, because I wanted to fit in so badly. I definitely just kind of shook that, and I was just trying to be myself to the best of my ability. The last con that I had was just program flaws. Nothing's perfect, no program is perfect, and I went through 2 homestays, so that just kind of gives you a clue as to some of the issues that I face. You want to have a sense of
Safety and security.
in the place that you call home, especially when you're away from your home, you know? Had that not happened, I think that a lot of my sentiments and feelings coming back home and reflecting back on Paris would be different. You know, I guess I didn't realize how, like, going to a different school really meant that I was gonna be faced with a difference of the way that the system works, a difference with the way that, you know, professors are and how they teach and what they think is best. I was used to the way that my school did things. You know, this new school, there were some things that I just didn't like, and so that made it difficult. Just holes, little holes here and there that just kind of made all the difference in the end. would I do it again? If I knew how difficult the experience would be for me and what type of issues I would have, I wouldn't have done it again. You know, if I had known from the start, I wouldn't. But, you know, I don't regret it either, because I'm really happy to have been able to travel the world in a sense. That's something that I'll never be able to, you know, have enough gratitude for. And to be young and to be able to travel the world is something that I don't think everyone gets to do. So I'm extremely grateful. And, you know, in all things, I try to look at it from the sense of me just becoming a better, stronger, more aware, conscientious individual. And so I definitely think that that happened as a result of me being in Paris. I think that just my whole mental framework and perspective on life somewhat and the world definitely has shifted in a positive, more expansive way. Like, there were a lot of good times that I had too. I met some great people as well, and you know, I wouldn't want to take that back. So, you know, there's always going to be some bad with the good, but at the end of the day, I think that there is just an undoubted amount of gratitude that I have for having had the experience. You made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much, not just for watching this video, but for being with me on this journey. I have tried my best to be as open and candid and vulnerable as possible, to give you most transparent understanding of what my experience was like. I hope that you enjoyed my postings, as imperfect and crazy and sporadic as they were. Just know that in the times that I wasn't posting as faithfully as I said I would in the beginning, those were the times when I was really struggling hard. So I'm gonna leave my blog up forever. Hopefully I'll be able to return to it 10-15 years down the road and, you know, show maybe one day my children what my first experience was like. Just feel free to go to it whenever. I still am going to keep my Instagram page up. I'm probably going to Instagram stalk what I do best instead of actually posting pictures anymore, because life is monotonous again. But thank God for the monotony. Mom asked me the other day if I would go back to Paris, and I told her that the answer was no, unless it was 5 to 10 years from now and somebody wanted me to go with them. So that's where I am right now. Yeah. If you can make it in Paris, you can make it anywhere. That's neither here nor there. So thank you. I love you guys, and take care.